Going to the program.
Oh, it's going to the program right now.
Yes, it's live right now. So.
Is it picking up our talk?
Yep,
It's picking up us.
You're going to watch on Facebook video.
Yeah. That's cool. I'm going to keep rotating it for you. You're going to have to duck. You're going to have to duck. I'll rotate it for you.
And that's the routes you want to
Okay, go.
one of those water things.
Cảm ơn chú. Chú lên chú mua cái t-shirt.
First of all, the database I was using, and I ran
Voters don't get the words.
Oh, okay,
Robinson in North Carolina. They didn't make the CNN bashed us down. They made a story about
Seems like the only one
We had a couple of philosophers discussions with them too. Are they on it? Work center, back in there, I can just I mean, are they not? The conversation.
Take care.
the whole country says I'm going to get out the side there. I'm going to sit and look originally I started with
That's from the primary.
some of them
Yeah, it's time.
I think we had a light switch warning, but that was a light switch accident.
That's good. The time they end, they have a lot too.
Oh, they do
They
that?
have a
The
lot of
light switch?
signals.
Okay, yeah. That was like a 5-minute warning, maybe?
Where are we going to put her? Is she going to be right there?
Yeah, probably so, yeah. It's kind of like it's kind of like the Golden Globe Awards, yeah. You stand right there. Did you register yet with? Or you already have?
I registered online.
Oh,
Is that what we're
okay.
talking about?
Well, yeah, it's like registering to receive email communications from like RNC headquarters. So like he's covering the registration. This guy down here.
I don't register.
Oh, really?
I registered.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's cool. I do. You probably end up with something, but
You want underneath. Yeah.
Oh, Philip. Yeah.
So right now see the line.
Oh, that's the line? You can see it right there, yeah.
You can see this guy too.
Is it rotating? Right. So I get 3 seconds left. Attention!
Please have your attention. Very good. Rosie Oakley. Hi there, everyone. Good morning. Wow, we're packed in here like sardines. This is great. I'm Rosie Oakley. I'm first vice chair with the Fairfax GOP, but I'm also the chair of the 11th Congressional District, and we're super proud to have Stuart running for the 11th District chair. I'm supposed to give Winsome is going to be here in about 5 minutes, so my job is to say welcome. Thank you all so much for being here. And I'm going to turn it over to Stuart, who's going to make a few remarks before Winsome gets here.
Okay, so she's in 5 minutes. Okay. So good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for coming out today. On the campaign trail, we've been talking about the key to winning. And you know what it is? Working together. So I can't win this race alone. We can only win this race together. And so there's a lot of ways to help, right? There's giving contributions, and there's doing other things like that. There's telling your friends and neighbors to vote. But the hardest thing to do is what you're doing right now. Right. And that's to show up in person, to go out in the heat. We got a little bit nicer weather today. But go out in the heat, knock on doors, and just get the word out. It is impossible to express in words how important it is when you come to a person and have that one-on-one, in-person contact with them, and you tell them about a candidate. It is hard to measure the effect that has versus just hanging something on a door and walking away. And so for you doing that, it's special. The other thing to understand is you're not just touching that person. So when you come to a door and a Republican answers the phone or answers the door, and you talk to them and you convince them to go vote, they turn around and every other Republican that was in that house is getting turned out to vote. And all their immediate family members are getting turned out to vote. So it is a huge force multiplier, and we just appreciate it so much. I know there's some new people here, so I'll give since we have a little bit of time, I'll give my quick background and talk about some of our focuses, if that's okay. And then you guys please cut me off when the Lieutenant Governor gets here. But so real quick, so Stuart Whitson, running for U.S. Congress in the 11th Congressional District. I'm an Army combat veteran, personally led more than 300 combat missions in Iraq, including a mission that led to the successful rescue of a hostage. I came home, I started law school. Was a full-time law student. I actually worked full-time at the county attorney's office, prosecuting cases, also while in school. And I was a company commander for National Guard infantry unit. Got through law school, thought I was going to be a prosecutor, but God had a different plan for me. And instead, I joined the FBI. And so I could tell this story, but the FBI is a federal agency, and just like the military, you have this thing called a dream sheet, which when you fill out a list and you put, here's all the top places I want to live in order of preference. And so fortunately, I got my 17th pick, which is Arizona. So it shows you how much they thought of me at the FBI now. But anyway, so I call home to my beautiful wife who are in the back. So my wife, Melissa, and our 5 kids back there. So and I should leave with that. So my wife and I have been married for 20 years. We have 5 school-aged kids. Everything I do, I'll tell you the positions I have, but everything I do is centered on them. It's why I do it, and I know if you're a parent or have nieces and nephews, you understand that same thing. And so a lot of this stuff that's going on across the nation, it's not just in Virginia 11, but across the nation, is really putting our kids at risk. And that's everything from the woke ideology that's being pushed on them behind closed doors, but it's also public safety stuff, right? For 4 years, the Biden administration just opened our borders wide open, and they just allowed, gangs and drugs to flood into the communities. And it wasn't just in the South; it came up here. I think we saw when the FBI was taken over by new leadership by Kash Patel. One of the first big arrests they made was what?
Yeah, Kash Patel.
Yeah, number 30. So the number 3 guy in MS-13, one of the most violent Mexican gangs in the world. And I compare them; they're similar to ISIS in the violence they'll do against their enemies. But the number 3 guy in that organization was living right on the edge of our district. And so the problems have come up here. You may have seen the video of the child grab, and so the opponent I'm running against is soft on crime. He's pro-sanctuary city. And so he's bringing a lot of crime and stuff into our area. And so those are big passions, things I want to stop. And so served in the FBI for a decade. I mentioned it. So I did ISIS. So the first ISIS claimed attack on the U.S. homeland I was the FBI's lead investigator after that attack happened. I worked other international terrorism investigations, but I was also a member of the FBI SWAT team. And so because we were in Arizona, we did a lot of high-risk arrests along the southern border, because that was before the border was wide open, so you still had them trickling over. And so I'll tell you right now, the guys that are in these Mexican gangs, they are not guys armed with handguns, right? They're armed with AK-47s, they're malicious and violent. And so I've seen that, I've been on the front lines and seen the danger that comes from that, and so we have to take that seriously. And so what brought us out here back in 2017, my wife and I moved out here because I got a job at the National Counterterrorism Center, which is in Tyson's Corner in our district. And so I was working international terrorism cases across the country and across the globe. And then I helped stand up a new unit that was focused on Iranian-based threats. So Hezbollah and Hamas and some of those other groups. Stood those up, went to FBI headquarters, kind of rose through the ranks. And then when Biden got elected, something changed. The FBI started taking a new direction because it turns out elections have consequences, right? And so a new commander-in-chief got in, had a different direction, and it started moving away from international terrorism, which is something I'd always focused on and saw as the most pressing threat, to other threats that I didn't think so. And so I'm a conservative, I'm a Republican. I didn't embed in the agency and become the deep state and resist. I did the honorable thing, I resigned. And so I left the FBI with the support of my wife, and I joined a conservative think tank. And so for 4.5 years, I've been on the Hill fighting in the trenches to advance conservative policy, not only at the federal level, but in states across the nation. And so all that to say, I'm someone that if I win this race, I can hit the ground running on day one to deliver results and help our president, President Trump, deliver on the America First agenda. And so I always remind people of this, for 4 years, the Biden administration waged war on our country, right? Not just our economy, but on our kids, on our values. And so that was going on for 4 years. What did President Trump do in just a month, a few days, right? Came in, executive action, incredible work going on. He's changing the country, getting it back on course. But here is the deal. Everything he's doing through executive action can be undone by a future president with the stroke of a pen. And so if we want to make all that America First agenda, the stuff we voted to put him into office to deliver on, if we want to make that permanent, we have to do that through Congress. And right now in Congress, we have the slimmest majority we've had in the last century. And so what does that mean? That means it makes it really hard to pass conservative policy at the congressional level, even though we have a trifecta, which is control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Even with that, we are negotiating away good conservative policy with ourselves. And so the last thing I'll say about that is, the one big beautiful bill, right? What that's a reconciliation bill. And what does that mean? It's a bill that we can pass in Congress without a single Democrat vote, because it's a reconciliation bill. And so there's limitations on what can be included in that. You have to, there's this thing, I don't want to go too far in the weeds, but there's this thing called the Byrd Rule on the Senate side that basically says anything you put in there has to be budgetary focused. And so all this to say, you can get great policies included in there if you're creative and if you know how to operate in the rules. And so going back to my experience, 4.5 years in the trenches, that's what I was doing, is helping craft the one big beautiful bill and do the language in a way that it could get past the Byrd Rule on the Senate side. All this to say, we have one more chance for another reconciliation bill. So one big beautiful bill, we're gonna have a second beautiful bill. It's not gonna be as big as the big beautiful bill because we put things in, but we have a second chance, and that second chance will happen before the midterms. We still have the majority. If we come out of the midterms well, then we'll get more reconciliation bill chances, but if we don't, we won't. And just understand this, Republicans in the last 90 years, we've only had control of all three branches of government for 9 of the last 90 years. And so one of the last period was when Trump was in office. So it seems like, oh yeah, this just comes along periodically, we'll get another chance. But you really have to understand in the context, having a trifecta, it literally could be a once in a generation opportunity. And so we have to pass big, important conservative legislation now while we can. And so I'm someone, if I get into office, I can help make that happen because I know how to do it and I'm a known conservative. And so I'm hearing footsteps. I'm gonna start wrapping. I'm getting a signal from my wife to wrap up. But anyway, so that's it. So long story short, thank you so much for coming out this morning, for doing the hard work, but don't forget to vote, right? The most important thing you can do is two things, is you go vote early in person, and you drag other people to the polls to vote early in person. When you vote early in person, not only are you banking your vote, you're taking the resources we spend to try to drive you out. Instead of focusing those on you, we focus those on the people that haven't voted yet. So it is game changing if we turn out. So with that, is time covered? Okay, great. So I'll wrap up. Yeah. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, the reason we're all here, right? Our current lieutenant governor. So right now, we had a weak leadership, right, at the federal level. We had Biden, the very definition of weak. We had Conley, someone weak as well. But fortunately, for those 4 years, what do we have at our state executive level? We had strength, right? We had Governor Youngkin, strength, pushing back against that, and we had a lieutenant governor who's a former Marine, right? So I don't think pushing back. But here's right now, here's the deal. We are about to enter a period that if Spanberger gets elected, are we going to have that strength?
Disaster.
No, it will be horrible, all right? And so we have to have a strong governor in the state, and she is the woman to do it. And so we have to support her. Let's give her a round of applause.
Wait a minute. We've had coffee. How's everybody doing?
Doing great!
Yes, here you are. This is so awesome. What's up, Sandra?
Hello.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. What's up? You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. No, wait a minute. We know they're ready. Is everybody ready to win? You see, we cannot do it by ourselves. And it is interesting that his election has already started. Think about that. His election has already started. We have to beat feet. We've got to get out there. We have to knock on doors. I mean, let me think about this. You know, when I first ran in 2001, there was no such thing as Ring cameras, etc. You know, so you could get to the door, you'd be picking your nose, and it'd be okay. We're real people, right? But now, the situation is such that you have to be careful with your conversation before you even walk up to the door, because the technology is so good, it can pick up your conversation. So if the two of you are walking up to the door, you're on the sidewalk, you've got to be saying all good things. No, it's a serious thing, because, you know, it used to be World War II, loose lips say shit. Aha, somebody's a history buff in here. Or listen, got an A in history. And so you don't want to have everything that you're about to say to the person be destroyed because you weren't careful with your words. And it's not you have nefarious intentions, you know, you're just talking. And then, you know, stuff is picked up. So it's not like we're saying be underhanded. We're just saying be very careful what you say at the door. And that should be the same really for everything. We've got to be careful. We used to tell people when you're going to door knock, for goodness sake, don't walk on the lawn. You see that lawn? They're very proud of it. You know, and here you come, walking all over the people's lawn, and it just makes you mad. And so they're already mad, and now you've got to cheer them up at the door. Hi, I am here for Stuart Winston. I'm here for, you know, whoever. And that's a problem. So we just have to be mindful of people's property. And it's the long way around, and unless the dog runs you off, you're good to go. But we're saying all these things because, you know, those of us who are not from America, we're not born here, let me tell you what we're doing and why this is important. Well, of course, you know it's important. But I have a totally different perspective on all this, because I remember one time I was visiting, you know, the place where I was born, Jamaica, and I just put on a dress, a color that I loved. And my mother said to me, where do you think you're going with that in this neighborhood? I said, what, is it too short, is it too long, what? She said, the color. This is not the color for this neighborhood. Think about that. This is why I love America. I could have lost my life just by the color I chose. And you know, usually they say that we Republicans, we wear red and Democrats wear blue. And you know, it actually used to be the other way around, remember? It was the Democrats who wore red and we wore blue. But things changed, and hey, I think I look good in both colors. And if I like a thing, I like a thing. And if we're, you know, we can't be that, you know, we're the color is a matter. So I tell you that to say, we need to be sure that we preserve what we have here. I mean, I could never have a shirt like this, for example, in some of these other countries. Those of us who are from another country, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I mean. It would be a problem. And then wait for it. This is a door that doesn't normally vote for your side, and you knock on it with somebody else's shirt. You lost your mind. Folks, this is what I'm talking about. We've got to preserve what we have. We have to make sure that the next generation has hope and opportunity. And yes, we got to love each other too. It doesn't mean we don't tell the truth though. Because we want to win, and we have the truth, I do believe. And what is the truth? Well, we need Stuart Winston in Congress. That is the truth. We've got to take this seat. Why? Well, because of all the reasons that Stuart has already told you. We need to make sure that we preserve America for the next generation. And how do we do that? Well, we make sure that everybody has an opportunity. What am I talking about? Well, you know, I filed an amicus brief to help the Asian children who were being, well, asked to do so very much more to get into the Ivy Leagues. Why? Why can't we just have opportunity for everybody? This is what he's going to help us to do on the federal level. I say opportunity for all. There are other things we've got to protect on his level. We're talking about protecting the nation. Yes, I'm going to be doing that on my level as governor, but on his level, now we're talking about what are the other, he's specifically looking at what other countries are doing. The laws that he makes will help protect us out there, over there, when he assigns the budgeting for our military. And there's some people who don't seem to understand the way to have a superpower remain the number one superpower is to have a strong defense. That's how we do that. He understands that. He's an Army guy. It's okay, he's Army. I'm Marine Corps, you know. We like each other. While I'm here, how many Army folks do we have? Woohoo! Yes. Our Air Force? Yay! Space Force? Coast Guard? Marine Corps? All right, I'll hold my hand up. I remember one time talking to somebody and they said, well, our Constitution absolutely protects us from the other nations. Tell me something. If we don't have a strong military and we're overrun, what do you think that rogue nation would do to America? They'd tear up our Constitution.
Yes.
So we need a strong defense to back up our Constitution. And by the way, while at a strong defense, we need our 2A rights respected. Who's going to make sure of that? Because, our Second Amendment is important, and as you know, the Second Amendment, they say, backs up the First Amendment.
Yep.
And that's why I love America, because we make our own decisions. There's so much that's at stake. We're talking about laws that are going to be enacted, that at the federal level will override whatever we do here on the state level. So it serves to reason then that we've got to have somebody who understands liberty, who understands freedom, who understands, wait for it, protecting our borders.
Yeah.
Protecting our borders. to him, this is what he did when he was in the army. Folks, every country has a border. I saw where people were coming across certain Central American countries, and they wanted their border respected. They want to know, what are you going to do here? How are you going to do it? Who are you going to do it to? And when are you going to do it? And after that, what happens? It's simple. We want to know, why are you coming into America? Are you running from something, like a murder charge, or are you running to something like liberty, like freedom? That's all we want. Wait, how many of you have front doors? How many of you? I'm just asking. You see, isn't it that simple?
It is.
We have front doors because, well, we worked hard for this place. Do we work hard for America? We have front doors because, well, we pay the mortgage around here. Do you pay taxes around here? Yes.
Too much.
Too much.
Too much.
Too much. They get more too much. And we are the ones.
She's figured it out. She's figured it out. Because, listen, we have a front door because we want to know who's coming in, why do you want in, etc., etc. That's what this is about. It's not about hating anybody. It's simply about understanding what happens. And, you know, I keep hearing, America's a racist country, racist country, racist country. Well, why did they let my father in? Why did they let my dad in? And by the way, they've been letting in black people in America way back into the 1900s, the early 1900s. That's how Colin Powell's parents came from Jamaica. Think about that. I mean, people have been coming. It's just a matter of who, how, what do you want, what are you going to do when you get here? And by the way, my father had to prove that he was not going to be a burden on the American taxpayer. Is that too much to ask? No, it's not. Now, listen, we got a good thing going in America. We understand why people want to come. It's the best place to be. We understand this. When I stood at Operation Eagle Pass, I was at the border because I want to see for myself. I want to know how I'm supposed to serve. And this is how you serve. You got to be among the people. You can't serve from the corner office. You got to get out, go talk to folks. What's on your mind, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what you've done. That's what you continue to do. And so I went there. I went to Texas. I wanted to see, because I wanted to see what was the news telling me. Well, let me tell you, the border with Mexico and America is as long as from Atlanta, Georgia to Portland, Oregon. Think about that.
Wow.
I know, it doesn't look like it's that long, but those of us who used to do stuff old school where you get the map and you gotta get the string, and you used to do that, and they put it on the key, these kids don't know anything. We used to have to do a lot of math to figure that out. But let me tell you, that's how long it is. And so the people of Texas, because they had no support from the former president, Joe Biden, yes, they spent $15 billion of their own tax money to protect the United States border, when other people were saying, don't believe what you're seeing, there's nothing to see, just keep moving on, your borders are safe. He understands that. He would have protected us. Folks, for every two, I understand that we were able to discover were in America coming across the border, there was one who got away. And so as a result, we had folks from the CCP, the Communist Chinese Party, who came across. We, of course, had Tren de Aragua, who came across. We had MS-13 came across. We had other international gangs that came across. Fentanyl was killing our kids coming from China, coming across through the cartels. In Virginia, there were 5 Virginians dying every day from fentanyl poisoning. Coming up 95, coming up 81.
Iranians and Hezbollah as well.
Right.
You never know who came in.
We didn't know who was coming in.
Yeah.
This man understands that, and he will protect us. This is not his first time. This is not his first rodeo. He's been doing it. He's going to keep doing it. He's been doing the work. Where has your opponent been?
Career politician, ma'am.
Opportunist.
All right. And you know what it does? It turns us against each other. It turned those of us who waited in line, who had to produce our papers, et cetera, et cetera. Now, do we need immigration? Of course we do.
Yes.
We need immigration, that's not the issue. For me especially, and for Stuart, it's, if you're criminally, illegally here, you gotta go home. Right? We don't want anyone who is a rapist, a murderer, a pedophile, those kinds of things. But my opponent has voted against the Lake and Riley Act, which simply said exactly that. If you're criminally, illegally here, you gotta go home. This man will not vote that way. This man will, because that's what my opponent did when she was a member of Congress. This man will make sure if you're criminally, illegally here, you're gone. That's why we need Stuart.
Amen.
That's why we need Stuart. My opponent, when she was a member of Congress, voted to force every single one of you to join a union, even if you did not want to do that.
Right.
Stuart will not do that. Stuart will make sure that liberty is what you have. Because imagine, when I have done these naturalization ceremonies and I'm welcoming new Americans after they've raised their hands, and I've said to them, you understand this land that you're coming to, a land of freedom, a land of liberty, a land of options and opportunity. And then I say to them, but I'm telling you now, if you're gonna get a job, you're gonna have to join a union. If you're gonna keep the job, every single paycheck, you're gonna have to pay a union. What am I doing? That's what they left. That's what they left. The government forcing them. My opponent voted to force every single state without the states themselves deciding it individually. My opponent was voting to do that. He's not gonna do that. He says, you wanna join? You join. That's fine, you do that. But on the national level, he is going to make sure that the states' rights are protected. That's why we need him. My opponent also voted, for example, against parental rights, that you would not know what's in the curriculum, you would not be told what, if your child was transitioning, you would not know as a parent anything that goes on in the schools at the federal level. She was gonna make laws like that. It would have just stopped everything we were trying to do here. Stuart is not going to do that. Stuart understands that as parents, we have rights all day long, 24/7, and all day on Sunday. I mean, this is serious stuff. Who are you to get between my child and me? Who are you, the government? That's what we left. That's what we left. Stuart understands that. Folks, this is not hard. This is not hard. We want somebody in office who will give us freedom. No, not give us freedom. Who will what? Protect and preserve.
Protect and defend the Constitution.
Amen.
Well, all right then. There you go. There you go.
Indeed.
All right.
This is what we need. We need someone who also doesn't, on the federal level, tell every one of us how much we're going to pay our employees. You know, I remember when I started my business in the Great Recession, and folks, there were times when I didn't know how I was gonna pay my employees. I didn't know where the next job was coming from. So when people wonder why you pray so much, I know. It's because I understand that if he doesn't help me, it ain't gonna work. And so I pray all the time, and I never missed a payroll. I never missed a payroll for my employees, missed it for me, but not for them. But my opponent would have voted, and in fact she did, because she went and put her name on forcing someone to join a union, which would of course demand benefits that maybe I can't provide. It would demand pay that maybe I couldn't provide. It would demand so much and destroy my business. He's not gonna do that. He is going to make sure that you have your rights as an employee, and yes, you have your rights as an employee. I've always thought of my employees as somebody who volunteers to work. And you know, if you volunteer, what happens? You leave anytime you want. You leave, you're like, look, I'm a volunteer here. I'm gone, bye. I don't like how you treat me. And so I've tried to endeavor to treat everyone the way that I wanted to be treated, not wait for the government to force me, not wait for any union to tell me. And I figure if you treat people right, they'll work for you. They'll work with you. They'll do the best. That's why we need Stu. He is going to not vote for things that are gonna divide us. He is going to protect our liberties. He is going to protect our strength as a superpower. He's not gonna say one type of energy, and that's green energy only. Folks, those ICBMs don't go up on solar. We need more than solar power. Those rockets that are trying to get us back to the moon with the Project Artemis, they don't go up on solar. They need all forms of energy. This is nonsense. We need to protect our military. We need to make sure that we as a country are safe. That's what this is about. We need the ships that will propel us forward. We need all of that and so much more. We need labor relations that are helpful, not destructive. We need strong borders. We need all of that. He will help us to do it. Please, when you get to the doors, push. Push hard, work hard. This is for all of us. What happens here is what will happen in the Congress.
Support law enforcement,
Aha!
not
See, there's so
defund.
much we could talk about. We have to support law enforcement, especially local law enforcement. My opponent has supported sanctuary cities. She has supported, yes, she has, why am I gonna give sanctuary to people who are criminals? Why would we do that?
No, it's a
more
mess,
seats,
it's a
to
mess.
get more seats in Congress.
It's a mess, our streets are a mess because of it.
Of
It's
course it
really
is.
bad.
And we have to live here. We have to live here, but not under my watch. You know, we here in Fairfax County and elsewhere, I gotta tell you, I don't know if you saw, they tried to ambush me yesterday on CNN. Yes, I know, right? This is my surprise face. I was so surprised at that. Actually, I was, and you know why? It's because I didn't expect that of Manu. Because I figured if you're going to tell me you're gonna do a thing, you're gonna be honorable about it. We were going to talk about the economy and the state of my race. And what he wanted to talk about was Trump. That's it. If that's what you wanna do, then tell me that. But I don't expect, coming from a third world country where I've seen that thing happen when I'm 10 years old, I don't expect to come to America and that's the sort of thing we do to each other, we ambush each other. I don't expect that of the media. And it's unfortunate because when half of America doesn't believe the media is playing fair, then that's a problem, is it not? That's what happens in other countries. It shouldn't be here. And so, yes, I was ambushed yesterday, and I had to really, defend myself in a certain way I didn't want to do. I want to talk about the issues, and one of the things it was about Doge. Folks, we're trying to preserve and protect what we have in Virginia. And that means we're trying to create jobs, right? And so we have over 250,000 jobs. Job openings. We've created over 15,000 plus new business startups. These businesses never existed when we were first elected in 2021.
Biden killed the small businesses 4 years ago.
Exactly. We're trying to do all of these great things. And my opponent didn't want to hear that. And I was trying to tell him, he felt like an opponent, actually. He did. The reporter didn't want to talk about that, want to talk about some other things. And finally I said, listen, just July 28th, our Secretary of Commerce sent a letter to the chairman of the Board of Supervisors here, they're all Democrats, to tell him that we were going to create 800 new jobs, never existed in Virginia. The average pay was going to be $150,000 average pay. And do you know what they did?
No.
They said, no, we don't want those jobs in Northern Virginia, even though Northern Virginia would be affected by the very Doge that they claim to hate. But why did they do that? Because they're trying to protect Abigail Spanberger.
Oh my God.
Why would you play politics with people's lives? These are real people needing real jobs, having real bills, having real issues, and yet you would do that for political purposes? This is what I'm talking about. So we need Stewart. We need Sandra. We need whoever else is going to be running. We need I don't want to play those kind of games. I don't want to play those kind of We can agree to disagree, but we don't have to be disagreeable about it. We can find ways to come together and work together. Those were 800 jobs, 800, and the Democrats up here said no. The Democrats up here also, Steve Descano, I know. Steve Descano, you heard about the man. You heard about the man who tried to abduct that toddler. 43 priors.
Yeah.
43 priors this man had. And what do? They just let him go. Just let him go so that he could be a menace to society. And the child he tried to kidnap, the toddler, it was just 3 days prior. He was in custody. He was in custody. And they let him go. Steve just let him go. This is the kind of person we can't have in office. We need to understand who we're electing. We need Steve Stewart. We need Sandra. We need me. We need our House. We need everybody. And finally, when it comes to safety and security, we haven't even talked about the car tax. There's so much good stuff. We haven't even talked about the billions of dollars that we've given you back in your tax refund. We haven't even talked about the monies, the increase in teacher pay that we've done, 18% unheard of over, so many years. We haven't even talked about where we've given veterans a tax break because we have gotten rid of taxes on the first $40,000 of their pension, which causes them to say, I'm gonna stay in Virginia, I'm not gonna go to Tennessee, I'm not gonna go to these other states where my whole pension is a tax. Folks, we're doing all that we know to do to make sure that Virginia remains, as we like to say, a prosperous Commonwealth. To do that, we also need help. We need Stewart, we need Sandra.
We need Cassandra.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Did you talk already?
No, with Sandra,
Okay.
we're running for delegates here.
Yes, of course. So y'all come up, because we need to hear from you too, because we need you, I guess, to take a minute, because we're kind of overdone.
Oh,
To
yeah,
talk
I
about why we need everyone. We need everyone.
Well,
We need everyone. We cannot do it by ourselves. Get a yard sign. Get a bumper sticker. If you have another extra $5, please give it. If you can give 10, give 10. If you can give 100, add another 0. I'm gonna finish with this. Our country is dependent on us. When we talk about the government, we're talking about us. We're talking about you. We're talking about everybody has to play their part, because that's the way our government is set up. Was it always that way? No. But you know what? I look forward. I'm going forward. Nothing back there. I'm going forward. You're going forward. Your children need to go forward. Your children never lived that life. Half of us didn't either. We're going this way. We're not going to be at each other's throats. We're Americans. We're going forward. Thank you so very much for coming. Make sure you get a yard sign, because I'm telling you now, where I'm from, nobody knows. If I said to my mom, do you get yard signs? I said, what is that? You don't tell anybody how you're going to vote. And yet, every time I put a yard sign in my yard, I'm telling you, I drive by it, and I'll just think, my God, America, you can tell people how you're going to vote, and they don't bomb your house. I'm telling you, you don't understand what we have in America.
I have 3 of yours in my yard.
The house is still there.
Make sure you get Stewart's. Make sure you get Stewart's, and even if you're not in his district, put it there, because it'll get into somebody's noggin. Oh, that's, that Whitson guy, All right?
So, Winsome,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have a slogan for the day.
What's
You
that?
said push when you go to these doors, like in your mind, you're pushing back the darkness of this
Ah, yes.
craziness.
Yes.
P-U-S-H, pray until something happens.
There we go.
Oh, that's a good
That's
one.
right, that's right. All right, so we need absentee votes especially, right? We're trying to do all that, trying to get the organization together. I know I said finally, but here I go. So we've set up for our victory campaign for the rest of us. So your election is September when?
September 9th is the deadline. We're voting right now.
Right, you're voting right now, but the
Last
last
day
day
election
vote
is
is
on
September 9th.
September 9th.
And for the rest of us, for the House candidates, so that would be the delegates, for myself, John Reed, Lieutenant Governor, and Jason Miyares, Attorney General, of course, you know, well, ours starts September 19th. September 19th.
Early voting.
It's the 19th. We start September 19th. So we already have in place what we call our victory campaign. I have sent some of my employees down to RPV headquarters, and they're going to be working from there to make sure it's the ground game. That's what the victory is called. It's the ground game. It's you, the door knockers. It's the groups that are going to be coming from outside of Virginia who want to help us, and we're going to give them the strategies and the platform so they're not knocking the same doors we've already knocked. They're going to knock different doors. It's the coalitions. It's the women's groups. It's the farmers. It's the law enforcement. It's all of us together working to make sure that we win in November. And let me tell you, the polls are looking good. Believe my opponent this one time when she says, this is a toss-up race. Don't believe the polls that are telling you that I'm down by double digits. It's not true. Don't believe the polls that have told you that I only, the paper that says that I have only raised 2 million, I raised 6 million. It's a lie. And by the way, I have raised more money historically than any Republican ever has. Money than any Republican has in the first quarter of a campaign. So we are going to win. Are we going to have her kind of money? No. That's again why I pray. And I pray that my $1 of hers equals $10 that she's spending. Yes, because you know, she may need 10, I only need 1. And for those of you, you heard me ask for $5 and $10. Let me tell you something. I have raised almost $2 million of my money from those who all they had was $5. All they had was 10, 5, 10s, and 15s. And that tells you something, that they say this is all I have, but I want to help. So thank you for all that you are doing. Thank you for being here on a Saturday. You could be somewhere else, but you understand that yes, other people should be here. Yes, other people are, you know, kind of taking it easy. But you know, when you know better, you do better, and you know better, so you're going to help everybody. And by the way, when we win in November, all good things are going to accrue even to our Democratic friends, because they will get no car tax. They will get opportunities for education for their children through me. They will get law enforcement that stays on the job and does the work and keeps us safe. They will get lower taxes. They will get jobs that are being created. I mean, we all will benefit when I'm elected governor of our great Commonwealth.
I was on my way to the Burke Farmers Market. I was just dropping my cards off to meet the interns. I had no idea this was going on today. I've knocked over 1,000 doors with my cards, her cards. You cannot knock on a door and show people her palm card and they instantly say yes. I know that to be true. My opponent, Laura Jane Cohen, she kept her kids out of school for 17 months. She voted against notifying parents if their child was transitioning. She is the town manager of Clifton when she doesn't even live there. So we're worried about what she's going to do with the Clifton Elementary School property. And we just have to keep letting people know what's happening. They can't just coast through life thinking Fairfax County is the best place to live and work and raise a family when all these forces from the Democratic side are trying to change that. Thank you for being here.
I made the remark from I'm running in the 7th district, and that's Reston, Virginia, and a little bit of Herndon, a little bit of Oakton. So that's where I'm running right now. And I'm also running against a former school board member. Her name is Karen Keys Kamara. She's a one-term incumbent, and I am working very, very hard to get people to know in Reston, you do have options other than just the Democrats. And so, you know, what we have to do is inform them about what's really happening. I was at a town hall meeting the other night with our board of supervisor, Walter Alcorn, and one woman remarked, and this is what I talk about when I go to doors, the fact that our children can't afford to live here anymore. Our seniors can't afford to live here.
That's right.
The taxes have gone up so much that we are in this position today where I could not buy a house if I was a single kid coming out of college. I have to go to Loudon, I have to go to Prince William, I have to leave. So we really have to make the quality of life, I think, one of our strong issues. So therefore, you know, I'm going after the car tax.
Yes.
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 Everybody needs to get that benefit. I know that the governor put forward something that would benefit the lower income, but I think that over time we have to phase that in for everybody. We can't be one of the few states that still has a car tax. And so and safety is a big issue for me. We have Reston has crime right on our line. We had a murder take place on the trail, and that's in our area. And so I'm also for education. I'm fighting against the school board candidate, the former school board member, who will never ever support private education or any family that wants to do something else other than our public education. And so this is what I talk about. If you want to change, you have to vote for me. If you don't want that change, you stick with her. I don't say that.
Well, we want you.
Today, I'm going to go door knocking with our wonderful governor nominee, and then I'm going to go out to my area and do some door knocking in Reston. So.
Well, let's hit it. Let's go. Knock the doors for victory.
Let's take a picture outside if everyone can join us for a picture.
Okay, Melissa, you guys have to come up.
Good, how you doing?
There's already some in there. Let me take it.
Yes, yes.